I remembered the taste of metal before I remembered the pain. Warm blood slid over my lip, the copper tang filling my mouth as the hallway tilted under my feet. My right arm hung useless, shoulder twisted out of its socket. And my sister, she stood there, arms folded, her husband's knuckles still wet with my blood. "You should have signed the mortgage," she said. No pity, no rage, just a statement of debt. That was the moment something in me stopped bleeding and started calculating. 2 years earlier, I'd been her safety net, the steady one, the one who caught her every time she stumbled. When she brought him home, tall, loud, always with a glass in his hand, I wanted to believe she'd found someone solid. My gut didn't like him, but I ignored it. I even danced with him at their wedding, pretending not to notice the way his palm lingered on my back. I never imagined she'd one day stand there, watching as he drove his fist into my face. The signs came quiet at first. She stopped calling unless she needed something. He started joking about my savings, my boring financial discipline. Then came the request. They were drowning in debt. The bank wouldn't touch them without me as a guarantor. I said no once, twice, and the visits turned into shouting. The threats stopped being polite. The night he attacked me, it felt rehearsed. His shove into the wall was almost practiced. I made it to my parents' house with one working arm and the will not to collapse in the street. My mother gasped when she saw my face. My father went rigid. Neither moved fast enough before my knees gave way. The next hours blurred. Paramedics, questions, the cold click of the camera as police documented my injuries. I told them everything. The officer's jaw tightened when I said my sister's name. He'd been to their house before. I could have stopped there and let the law chew on them. But I knew better. People like my brother-in-law wriggle free. People like my sister hide behind wedding vows and family pity. I needed something that wouldn't let them breathe. I went silent for 3 months. They thought I was licking my wounds. In truth, I was building a case, not just legal, but financial, social, personal. First, I dug through public records. Every unpaid fine, every late payment, every tax slip. I sent anonymous tips to every agency that could make their lives miserable, revenue, utilities, even the building inspector for their investment property. Second, I reached out to the people they owed. Screenshots of drunken texts bragging about skimming deposits. Bank statements left open on my sister's unlocked tablet the last time I'd been over. Third, I went after their allies. The couple they always partied with. I let the wife know my brother-in-law was texting her at 2 a.m. The contractor who'd given them a discount. I made sure he knew he'd never see the rest of his payment. I didn't scream. I didn't post. I just pulled every thread quietly. The day it all landed was almost poetic. A foreclosure notice on their front door, an eviction order for their tenants, an audit from Revenue Canada. And right in the middle of it, a knock. Me. My sister opened the door, hair tangled, hands shaking. Behind her, he sat pale on the couch, a brace on the wrist he'd used on me. "You," she hissed. "Me," I said. "Thought you should know. I didn't just say no to your mortgage. I said no to your entire life." I watched the recognition bloom, the dawning horror that every phone call, every letter, every official notice was my doing. "You ruined us." "No." I stepped closer. "You did. I just made sure you couldn't hide it." They tried to slam the door, but I wedged my foot in and leaned close enough for him to smell the perfume I'd worn the night he hit me. Next time, I murmured, "Pick someone who doesn't keep receipts." Then I walked away, slowly, letting them watch. It took 6 more months for everything to collapse completely. They lost both properties. He picked up a criminal record. She moved into our parents' basement, though I never saw her there. The police called once more, not for questioning, but to confirm a statement for a restraining order I hadn't even requested. He'd been harassing a former landlord. The officer's voice was dry when he said, "You were right about him." I was right not to scream, not to beg, not to throw a public tantrum. Revenge isn't about noise. It's about precision. I didn't get my sister back. I didn't want to. What I got was cleaner. The knowledge that the man who thought he could break me with his fists was now broken in ways he couldn't fix. And she, the one who stood there while he did it. Learn that silence can cut deeper than any scream.